Welcome back to Let's Play Sinota. Oh, come on, it was working last time. Hold on a moment. Just that. Get that away. Oh, come on. Do I really have to? Whatever. Fine. Okay. That. And do that. That. Just so the recording thing doesn't get in the way. So, I last recorded on the 6th apparently. It's now the 23rd, so it's quite a long time since I recorded. And my god, it still sticks with me. It's like, if you watch videos, my Let's Plays on my main channel, Blue Skull Dragon 87, you might have heard me mention about this Let's Play at least once or twice. It's like, I can't remember which one it was. It was Island Rune Factory Oceans, LLP, or the Digimon World Next Door. Isle 1, I did remember mentioning how, you know, the previous record session of this kind of fucked me up for a few days. I was like, oh man, that was just so disturbing. And it's just gonna get worse, I just know it's just like, it starts out pretty bad, you know, it's a bad situation, and then it just escalates really quickly. Before I start this, I'm gonna actually look at some previous comments. Let's see here. Also, there's someone else commented on part 1 here. Great to see some more recent uploads of this game. You should definitely do Chaos Head. It has very few Let's Plays out there. I'm not sure I've heard of that one. Doesn't seem to mention it, but I definitely remember checking it, and it said like maybe check out Steins Gate as well. I've heard of that one. Oh yeah, and this what was it? What was the guy's name? Gen Urabuchi. He's nicknamed Urabucha for a reason. And when I first saw this comment, I didn't even realize it was a name, so I assume this is the author. Let me just check where his other works are. It's like, it's Wikipedia. Where does it say it? It says it somewhere, I remember seeing it. Specialized, yeah, there it is. Genre, dark fantasy, horror, thriller, sci-fi, tragedy. I think a large emphasis on that last one. It's like of the, I recognize one of these animes. I've never seen it, but I have seen a scene from it, and yeah. Fuela, Magi, Madoka, Magica, whatever the hell. I remember seeing like a character getting brutally decapitated, if I recall, in that. So he's no stranger to brutal deaths, that's for sure. I can definitely tell from that. So I assume anytime you see that guy's name attached to something, you know character's going to be brutally killed off. Let's see, was there another one of note here? Oh yeah, recent one 2 days ago. It is kind of funny, isn't it? Well, not really, because it's kind of disturbing, really. It's just like, oh yeah, just leave the bodies there. They're gonna put it in the fridge to eat it for later. It's like, what the hell are you guys doing? And the comment also, the real fun begins in the coming videos. Sayonara, more like sayonara to your previous save. Or like sayonara to your sanity. I mean, Jesus Christ. I knew this novel was going to be dark, but I wasn't anticipating it to be as dark as it has been, to be honest. I wasn't well, I should have, honestly, and not be too surprised. It would include cannibalism. There was also, you know, that Suzumi guy who basically sexually assaulted Saya, which is kind of weird when you really think about it, considering, like, Saya appears as, like, a human girl, but she's not actually a human girl. She's like some kind of eldritch abomination. She could have easily have killed him. And just the idea, and like, Fuminori has had, a very intimate relationship with her, and just thinking what she actually must look like, it's just like, what the hell is this story? Let's continue. I think I recognize this picture. Also, when I was like trying to sleep, I was thinking about, okay, next record session for this, gotta get the recording, because, well, I'll be uploading tomorrow, I guess. And I just couldn't help but feel pissed off at Fuminori. It's just like, I hate his character, honestly. It's like he's been unsympathetic this whole time. It's like, I felt a bit of sympathy for him at the start, because, like, I mean, he didn't ask for this. He just, like, got this horrible perception of the world after this accident, probably more likely because of the experimental surgery that was done on him rather than the accident itself. Maybe both, I don't know. It hasn't really, been fully explained yet. But, I feel sympathy for that, but then he just becomes a cold, heartless asshole who only really cares about Saya, so that's his only redeeming, quality, is that at least he's nice to Saya, but he's a complete cold asshole to everyone else, and it's thrown away his humanity, and it's like, you know what? Let's eat people. Nom nom nom. Yeah, put their bodies in the fridge for later. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, fuck humanity. Who cares about that? He's basically become irredeemable in my eyes. He feels more like a monster than Saya. Saya feels honestly more human than Fuminori at this point. It's kind of, maybe that's intentional. Anyway, let's get on with it. I think I recognize the picture. My voice actor was not here because you already did that in the previous part. Well, actually, get that out of the way there. Where would it be? Backlog? Yeah.
この写真知ってる?
There we go. After we finish our labors and get into bed, I show Saya what I found in Ogai's house.
この一枚見覚えがあるよ。確かにさやの知ってる場所。
Photograph that Saya selected is the one with a Tojigi Prefecture address on the back.
これは家だよね。それと木と山。
そう。ふみのりすごいね。写真も見られるようになった?
Wait. He can see that? Like, properly? His condition doesn't affect pictures? Or is it something else? What if these pictures are actually horrifying looking, but he can actually see past it? That'd be weird, though. But I wouldn't put it past the story at this point.
これは家だよね。それと木と山。
Yeah, I was just wondering then, because they're just like, trees is key, mountains, yama. I'm like, how does it work in a sentence? Because I've never heard trees in a sentence like that. Because when I look in the dictionary and it says like trees, and tree is like key. It's just like, oh, that's not really much to go on there, is it? How would that work in a sentence? Now I know. Sort of.
まあね。
At the outset of my ordeal, I had to depend entirely on my sense of distance to decipher what I saw. The house in front of me, the mountains far behind them, the clouds high above, only distance and scale told me what they were. Photographs and all flat images used to be nearly impossible to make out. Recently, however, I've gotten better at understanding what things are by their shape. I know what the mountains and sky look like, for instance, and how to tell them apart from buildings. Each of the three pictures shows a similar scene, a lone house in the middle of a thick forest. You know, that's perfect. Because I've been thinking, since, the previous record session, I feel like the best scenario where this could end on the best possible way, Sai and Fuminori bugger off to some remote location, spend out the rest of their days living away from, society as a whole. Because, I mean, Sai is not going to be accepted by society, is she? Because she's basically an eldritch abomination, and Fuminori is going down a dark, dark, dark path. I mean, even Saya seemed kind of a bit, surprised and even a little scared at how Fuminori is kind of gradually changing because of her.
パパはね、別荘だって言ってた。ここにいれば誰にも見つからないって。
Well, why don't you go back there? Judging by the address on the back of each photo, they probably are excellent places to hide from prying eyes. But why free? Dates are pretty old, and it seems odd that they were all taken within a few days of each other. Maybe he was scouting properties, looking for the perfect location for his hideaway. You know what? If they actually did, go live in like some remote forest area, live out the rest of the days, you'd probably then, there'd be rumors like, you know what? A hunter, a couple hunters in the area just, mysteriously disappeared and were never seen again. Perhaps they just got lost in the woods. So I recognize only one of the houses, so that must be the one Ogai picked. Checking the location on a road map of the Kanto region, area, same thing. I find that it's about 3 hours out of Tokyo by car.
お父さんがここにいる可能性は？
電話してみたけど出なかったよ。多分いないと思う。
Starting to wonder if this guy is even alive.
でも、最近に立ち寄ったことはあるかもしれないよね。
The way I see it, our only hope of finding our guy is to follow whatever lead we have. No matter how small, the probability that his hideout will yield useful information may be low, but it's not zero.
明日にでも行ってみようかな、ここ。
Do you always have to be lying down like this?
I
like how is just translated as do you have to. I mean, she's basically, that's just questioning that really. It's like, It's like, I think I'll check this place out tomorrow. Saya pouts. I wasn't expecting her to object.
でもここ遠いんでしょ？
行って調べて帰ってきても、まあ、半日もあれば十分さ。
Well, if it takes half a day to get there, it'll take half a day to get back, so that's a full day.
その間、サヤはお留守番なの？
So that's what it is. Slightly exasperated, I smile and rub Sai's head. I mean, that'd be a sight, wouldn't it? We just drive in the car, Sai is, right next to him or in the back seats. Yes, it looks perfectly normal to them. Someone passing by in the car, they glance and look at this eldritch abomination in the car, like, what the fuck?
少しは我慢してくれよ。な？そやだって、お父さんのこと見つけたいんだろ？
I wonder if we're gonna actually see Saya's true form. Because, that's one thing in, Lovecraftian horror is you don't show the monster. You don't show the true form. You only hint at it. You can describe it, but you can't show the whole thing because it kind of then ruins whatever image you could conjure up in your own imagination. After a brief silence, during which her expression is hard to decipher, Saya looks up at me and says,
ねえ、ふみのり。パパのことはもういいよ。
Oh.
Huh?
That's the last thing I expect to say. Seems like she only wants you, Fuminori.
いいって、でも、君のお父さんだろ？心配じゃないのか？
いいの。私にはもうふみのりがいるし。
Saya says, coming closer to feel my warmth.
パパって言っても本当の意味でのお父さんっていうわけじゃないの。さやのことを教育してくれたし、ある意味では愛してくれてたのかもしれないけど、でもふみのりの方が優しくてあったかい。
Hmm. She calls him dad, but he's not really her father. Now I'm starting to wonder, because, like, I theorize that maybe Saya was made in a lab or something. But she could also be some kind of extraterrestrial being of some sort, I don't know. Feels like it's gotta be one of the two, unless she's like some... I have no idea. Saya's words make me happy, but I also hear the loneliness in them.
本当に僕だけでもいいのか？
うん。文則は嫌？さやと二人っきりじゃ。
いや、でも、そうだな。やっぱり、オーガイ教授には会ってみたい。
Having finally figured out how to explain my feelings, I continue.
さやのことをもっとよく知りたいから、僕以外にさやのことを知ってる人がいるなら、ぜひ会ってみたい。
そうなんだ。
Saya doesn't seem upset, but she does tilt her head quizzically, as though my thoughts are strange to her.
それに、やっぱり明日、この場所に行ってみよう。
I'll a plan has started forming in my head, one separate from the search for Dr. Ogai. If I find a doctor there, great. If I don't, well, I think he can find another use for his mountain retreat. Is he gonna actually go with my, idea? He's just like, go live there, man. It's no good for them to be living, in the city with their, crazy, appetites.
さや、寂しいかもしれないけど、ちょっと我慢して待っててくれ。
She nods, then looks quizzingly into my eyes.
やっぱり、文則にはさ、家族とか友達とか、もっともっと大勢いた方がいいのかな。
そりゃ、その方が楽しいだろうね。
Fearing that Saya will start sulking, I hurriedly add.
でも勘違いしないでくれよ。たとえそういう人たちに囲まれて暮らしてたとしても、さやだけは僕にとって特別な一人なんだからね。
ありがとう。
Giggling, Saya rubs her cheek against mine.
さやも文則が喜びそうなこと、文則のためだけに頑張るからね。
Sometimes I wonder with these transitions, and maybe that would have led into one of those scenes. I mean, they probably have quite a few of those in the, unedited version. How long has this been on Steam anyway? Because I've noticed it doesn't actually have achievements. It has the trading cards, which I still don't really understand the point of. Is it just like a collecting thing? It's kind of neat. And you can apparently sell them, which is kind of odd. It's like the ones I've got is one of Saya and two doubles, because of course there's doubles, of Fuminori's depressed, miserable-looking face. Today all of Koji's classes were in the morning. Also, can anyone explain in the previous part where, like, Fuminori, typed in something into the phone and, slid it back to Saya, and it was just a bunch of letters? What was that all about? Because I tried looking that up. I was kind of curious, and of course I didn't find any answer to what the hell that was all about. And I ended up unintentionally seeing a spoiler of sorts involving what may possibly be Koji's fate. And I hate when I come across spoilers like that. You can't search anything without running into a spoiler for something completely unrelated to what you're searching. I hate when that happens. On his way to meet Yo for lunch after his final lecture, Koji suddenly gets cold in the middle of the hallway. I worry about Yo. I really do. Because, she fancied Fuminori. And she got coldly rejected. I feel like she's probably going to eventually bite the dust in a very, very cruel and brutal way. Or maybe not. I don't know. But this, Judging by the comments, pointing out, this author, his nickname is like the Butcher because he kills off characters brutally all the time. Recently gets gold in the middle of the hallway. Without thinking, he reaches to his belt for his new camera phone, but curses when he realizes that the ringtone is coming from the old phone in his bag. He hasn't transferred his contacts list yet, and calls still come to his old phone from people who don't know the new number. When he finally fishes the phone from his bag, the name he sees on the display sends a chill up his spine. It's Fuminori, isn't it? Yep, Fuminori. Why now? What does he want? So hard to be happy about a call from Fuminori after the incident at the Ogai house.
はい。
いや、コージ。今日はもう講義はないよな。
ああ。
Of course, Fuminori would know that Koji is free on Thursday afternoons.
相談がある。駐車場に来てくれないか。
今すぐにか。
あ、待ってる。
Fuminori hangs up without another word. What's gotten into him? What does he want? Koji wonders as he sticks the phone into his jacket pocket. His sudden change is disturbing after a week of Fuminori avoiding both Koji and Yo. Maybe he's finally ready to talk, in which case Koji should probably consider this a good thing. However, he can't shake the feeling that something is wrong.
待たせたか。
いいや。
In the parking lot, Koji finds Fuminori leaning against the fender of Koji's car. The last time they met was in the darkness of an abandoned house. It's the first time in over a week that they've spoken face to face in the light. Perhaps this is why Koji senses something strange in Fuminori's expression. He's not sure what, exactly, but something has changed. He's thrown away his humanity. He's going to become a monster. Oh.
前にも話したと思うが、
You weren't kidding.
僕は今、オーガイっていう人についていろいろと調べなきゃならない。
That's a creepy smile you got going there, Fuminori. You went from dead inside to, I'm gonna make you dead both inside and outside. You're gonna die.
そうらしいな。
それがな、ここに来ていろいろと難しくなってきたんだ。やっぱり、僕一人じゃ無理かもなって。
Fuminori seems more relaxed than before. He used to be tense all the time, like he was terrified of something. But now his expression is calm. He's even wearing what resembles a sheepish grin.
で、お前にも手伝ってほしいんだ、コージ。
Nevertheless, some instinct is telling Koji that Fuminori's changes are not for the better.
一体どういう風の吹き回しだ。
Koji asks, keeping his expression neutral to conceal his suspicion.
だって、お前も関心あるんだろ、コージ。
Fuminori responds coolly, his smile, unreadable as ever, offers no glimpse of his true motives.
お前も僕の後から、オーガイ教授の家をいろいろと探し回ってたじゃないか。僕とお前とでバラバラに探すなんて二度手間だよ。どうせなら、協力してもっと効率的にやろう。
Why? Why does he sense malice, thick and vicious, lurking behind Fuminori's smile? Again, like I mentioned, I feel like maybe it was intentional, but Saya seems more human than Fuminori. It's like a reversal. Saya's supposed to be like some kind of monster, but she's more, human-like and, what's the word I'm looking for? Sympathetic. While Fuminori is going down a dark path and becoming, kind of a monster of sorts.
ともかく、今日は足が必要なんだ。車を出してくれないか。
That's why he wants Koji's help, because he can't drive? I guess that would explain it then. Well, it would actually, because, when he went to Ogai's house, didn't he catch a train or a bus or something? So, he probably doesn't even own a car, even if he does have a license, which he probably doesn't.
まあ、構わんが。
Fuminori's car was destroyed. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Destroyed in the accident, so Koji isn't surprised that he needs a lift. So that was his car? So was he the one driving when they crashed, or what? Yoji unlocks his car and gestures for Fuminori to take the passenger seat, then gets behind the wheel and starts the engine.
で、どこに行くんだ？
栃木の北の方。那須高原の近所だな。
栃木？
Koji can't believe his ears.
住所はこれだ。この建物を探してほしい。
Fuminori says, handing Koji a photo with an address on the back. He seriously expects to be driven over 100 kilometers and back? Koji doesn't know whether to be angry or impressed.
今から
There's
出
a
発
hell
すれ
of a
ば
drive.
夕方頃には着くだろ
まあ、そうかもしれんが。
Koji sighs heavily, tapping the steering wheel as he calms himself down. Now that he's come this far, the only thing he can do is see his friend's craziness through to the end.
別荘か何かかこれは。
う。多分、そこに大貝教授もいるらしい。
Or perhaps what remains of him. I'm starting to wonder if he's dead, honestly. Koji isn't looking forward to meeting the owner of that creepy house, but he's even more uneasy about letting Fuminori go alone. Looks like he just has to grin and bear it.
東京に戻るのは夜中かもな。
悪いな。世話をかけて。
いいさ。
Koji drives out of the parking lot, leaving the rest of what he'd thought to say unspoken. Fuminori's smile seems wrong somehow, like a mask hiding his true face. Yeah, his true, dark self. Yo finds herself sitting alone in the cafeteria, sitting for familiar faces or lunch cools on the table in front of her. Yeah, I guess she's gonna be wondering where Koji went off to. Hopefully she doesn't run into an untimely death when looking for him, probably. She's hoping to see Koji today, but he must have had other plans. Wouldn't be at all unusual. Normally Omi and Fuminori would pick up the slack. But Omi and Fuminori aren't here anymore. Yo puts down her chopsticks, her appetite ruined by the lack of company and by the anxiety eating at her. Well, just hope you don't get eaten, because that's a very real possibility. Omi is missing, Fuminori has turned on her, and she has no idea why. If Koji was way here, she could count on him to distract her with some idle conversation. Now that she's all by herself, Yo becomes keenly aware of how little tolerance she has for loneliness. She begins to feel paranoid, like the whole world is plotting to take from her everything that she cherishes. Well, you could definitely see that. You know, it's kind of... I wonder if that's intentional as well. It's like, Yo, you know, human. Saya, not human. But they have a similar thing going on there. They both fell for Fuminori, and they both have this feeling of loneliness when they're not around, you know, the people they care about. Or in Saya's case, the only person she cares about. But that's about all they have in common. What is going on here? Where's Omi gone? Is Fuminori really unrelated to her disappearance? Well, I mean, he wasn't responsible for it. That makes me wonder, though. Why did Saya kill Omi to begin with? Is it because she was like an intruder? Or was she just a bit peckish that day? I mean, she could have just, you know, kept hidden the whole time and waited for, you know, Omi to leave, unless there was something she didn't want her to come across. Really, why did she kill her? She didn't have to go that far, man. You know, that's what bugs me as well. It feels like one or two things could happen here, and it's obviously going in one way than the other. The one way they're going is that, you know, Fuminori is, you know, trying to be more like Saya, you know? Trying to be, you know, more relatable to her and stuff, you know? Be like, okay, let's feast on human flesh. Nom, 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 nom. You know, completely discarding his humanity. While alternatively, could have gone the other way, and he, you know, teaches her how to, you know, be a little less, you know, vicious on the whole, you know, murdering and eating people. I mean, she's obviously carnivorous by the looks of things, so you probably can't be like, hey, do you, you know, can you go on a vegetarian diet for once? It's like, no. purely carnivorous. It's like, okay, well, we'll just have, meat, but, don't go around, eating people and stuff like that, alright? Let's try to, make you you can't be a part of society because you're an eldritch abomination and all, but, let's try to at least make it so that this thing works out, and you don't, go around, killing people, or, going after their pets and stuff like that, so let's try to make this work out, alright? We'll order takeout, alright? We'll have, steaks and shit and all that. We'll have stuff like that. How's that sound? It's like, it's not as appetizing as the real thing, man. Well, it is the real thing, yeah, but it's not the full body parts. Like, goddamn it, Si, how can we make this work with you? Or is he the key to this mystery, as Koji and Dr. Tanbo suspect? Yo recalls the events of last Thursday, alone and without an outlet for her pain after Fuminori verbally eviscerated her. Yo was lucky enough to run into Koji, though he could hardly make her problem go away. His kindness was a comfort. At the same time, Omi was on her way to Fuminori's house, and she hasn't been heard from since. Yo has only been aware of Fuminori's connection to Omi's disappearance since yesterday, when Koji revealed the truth during their visit to the hospital. What if... A new possibility occurs to her, reason for why Omi suddenly decided to visit Fuminori. This is also probably why she doesn't like being alone, because you're left to your own thoughts and she doesn't want to think about this. What if it hadn't been a coincidence that Yo ran into Koji that day? What if Koji and Omi had known what transpired between her and Fuminori and had decided to act separately? Well, that is basically what happened. Omi might have seen the confrontation in the courtyard. She might have been eavesdropping. It's not unthinkable. As the idea forms in her mind, Yo feels as though something is tearing apart her body from the inside. Well, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like this is probably going to be what actually happens to her. This is just a preview. We're just, we're doing some, wordplay here. We're like, it feels like someone is tearing apart her body from the inside. Foreshadowing. I don't know. She's probably gonna die, though. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. This is definitely not gonna be, a happy ending for anyone. Well, maybe, Saya and possibly Fuminori, I don't know. So, only a possibility, but if it's true, then whatever happened to me is your responsibility too, isn't it? This has 3 endings, right? We've already gone through 1. So, I'm not sure what the other 2 endings are. But I assume the other endings aren't gonna be, happy endings necessarily. It's like, an ending outcome I'd like to see is, where, Fuminori and Saya bugger off to this remote retreat, live happily ever after, and everyone else lives happily ever after, just with, wondering, where the hell did Fuminori go off to? But that's not gonna happen, is it? Alternatively, somebody freaking put a stop to Fuminori's growing madness. But I don't think that's gonna happen either. Anyways. Yo clutches her head, groaning in agony. The food on her tray is now cold. Not that she would have eaten it anyway. In spite of frustration and anxiety, Yo is unable to act on her own. She's never been good at adapting to challenges, and no one would ever call her proactive. She hasn't the slightest idea how to respond to this situation. If Omi were here, she would probably tell Yo to think positive and trust her instincts. Yo is always dependent on her best friend's energy. Now that Omi is gone, Yo realizes just how weak and useless she is. Wait a minute, I'm getting a bad feeling about this. She can only sink deeper and deeper into the abyss of self-loathing. Sudden ringing of her phone pulls her back from the brink of despair. It's a text message. There's no title, and the sender is... Omi-chan! Yo cries out in shock. Wait, what? Man, look at that ancient-ass phone right there. Oh, look. Nitro Plus. They went the extra mile. It's like, hey, man. Is it not... that? I mean... Are they the ones that made the novel? Or, well, maybe. Just Whatever. Yeah, that's an old-ass phone now. Message itself is even more baffling. If you want to know about Saga Fuminori, come to his house alone. Tell no one. Wait a minute, it's worse than I thought. Don't go there. The message bears no trace of Omi's personality, but you can't deny that it was sent from her phone. Okay, if Saya is gonna lure her in to kill her, Saya, you've joined the shit list for Fuminori, because you can't be sympathetic if you're deliberately going out of your way to kill someone. She takes a deep breath to calm herself before typing a reply, taking care that excitement doesn't cause her fingers to slip. I mean, come to think about it, this is the same phone we saw in the ending, so I assume Saya was actually using Omi's phone when she was communicating with Fuminori when he was in that mental hospital, I assume it was. Is that you, Omi? Where are you? I'm in the fridge. I've been disemboweled. Yo presses send. The screen shows that her message was received. And as she waits for a reply, her mind fills with questions. Is someone else using Omi's phone to send text messages? If so, why to her? Something suddenly occurs to her. She and Omi have exchanged countless messages over the years, many of which contain the sort of embarrassing confessions that close girlfriends share. At times, when her feelings for Fuminori grew too strong to contain, Yo often put them into words for Omi to read. Did Omi put a password on her phone? Even if she did, the person who sent the message was obviously able to unlock it, which means that whoever it is has full access to her history. Do you want to know about Saga Fuminori? I wonder. Maybe Sai was browsing through that and saw like her messages showing her love for Fuminori, and she's kind of going into yandere mode. It's like, no one can have my precious Fuminori. You must die. Yo reads the strange message one more time. Whoever sent it must believe that Yo has an interest in Fuminori. The phone rings again, startling Yo, but she quickly recovers and looks at the screen. There's no title, and the sender is still Takahata Omi. I'll tell you everything when we meet. Come alone. Tell no one. I mean, really? She's gonna buy into this like a complete idiot, but you really shouldn't. Even without the knowledge that, Saya is the one sending this, and that she's an Eldritch abomination that clearly must be planned to, kill her. You see a message like, come alone, tell no one. That's suspicious as fuck. Don't go there. It's not Omi. She would never try to scare Yo with such a mean-spirited prank. Anxiety has brought Yo almost to tears. Her mind isn't made to deal with this. Don't I feel like this was, had a bit more variety in, outcomes, with more choices, like visual novel usually would. I would have liked if they'd have a choice where it'd be like, okay, you can go there, or you could say, fuck that, and not go there, and the story takes a completely different turn as a result. But, yeah, this doesn't seem like it's the novel that really has something like that. To deal with this, who is using Omi's phone and promising to reveal Fuminori's secrets? Who could it be? Yo desperately wants advice from Koji, from anyone. She even starts to dial code yourself, but a sudden suspicion stops her. Sender might be someone nearby, watching her at this very moment. A cold chill runs down her spine as she looks furtively around the cafeteria. Come alone, tell no one. The lifeless characters on the screen are like a knife against her throat. However, Yo clutches her phone and forces her heart to stop pounding. Isn't this cowardice exactly what she hates most about herself? Doesn't she want to know what she's capable of? Doesn't she want to do more than sit and wait? I think it's better you do sit and wait. Forget Fuminori, man, he's a lost cause. Yo realizes that her hand is shaking. How easy would it be to just give in to her cowardice, to convince herself that Omi and Fuminori are beyond her reach? That is what she truly wants, even if it means abandoning dignity and loyalty. She wants to flee from the unknown. But she also knows that even escape is beyond her. For she knows the author of this story does not have her well-being in mind. Yo understands herself well. She knows that no matter how far she runs, regret and self-loathing will consume her after everything else is fallen apart. In the end, Yo is unable to overcome her cowardice alone. She lacks both the willpower and the courage to run. Don't go to the house, you fool. You fool. You absolute fool. The afternoon silence is somehow forbidding. Forbidding. The stink is in the air, the stink of garbage left out to rot. There's more than garbage. Even this perfectly normal residential neighborhood seems ominous to Yo in her current state. Feels like she's standing in the middle of a necropolis. As if everyone in the house around her is dead. Well, houses around her. Well, you know, 2 of those houses, yeah, that's kind of true. Well, not really. I mean, it is. His neighbor and his family, they're dead, but they're not in the house, they're in the fridge. It's just like, it's just such a freaking dark story, man. It's like, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I played through a visual novel / kind of point-and-click adventure game over a weekend. It took like 3 days to platinum it on the PS4, called Deathmark. I'm thinking maybe let's play that after this one, because it's not overly long. It's reasonably kind of length, I feel. It's like it's not too long, it's not too short, kind of thing. And you know, it's horror elements. But compared to this, my god, that is so much, you know. That's pretty much, you know, sunshine and rainbows compared to the darkness of this story.